go to the images. Okay. Let me just open one of them. Okay, so this is, I think, much more clear. So thing is that let me just open one of the good file okay, the wireshark is ready. So we'll kind of quickly see over here itself. So what I will do is that I will just quickly capture the packets, and the packet is getting captured, and I will just rerun this one. And you will see that in some time it has been done, but we are not seeing any request. Let me just capture that out again. Okay, so this is done, and now the thing is, let's close this out, Okay, now I think we should be having that data with us. Okay, so let me just quickly search for HTTP. I think there's some issues why we are not seeing the data. And okay, just quickly see that why that's the case. So it is taking on the Google one, but the CGI bin it is not capturing actually. There has been some issues. If it doesn't work in let's say next 1 minute, we will change out to the other backup mode, which is the looking at the figure mode. Okay. So let me just refresh this browser, and I see that okay, the data is there coming up, and similarly for our own website, which I have said earlier, and I see the server is running. So I am hopeful that this data will show up. For the last time, I'm just trying to check, and we'll try to save our time. And just capturing, and if you see, so the HTTP request that went out. Okay, so I think one of the thing we can see from here, and what we do is that we see the HTTP mode over here. So what we do is that we just search for HTTP. We got only one file. So it seems like the web server it is running locally is not getting tagged by the Wireshark over here. So we need to do certain settings on the Wireshark by which it can kind of tap on the local web server that is running on the browser. It was doing that earlier, but I don't know why it is not doing that. So maybe I'll just figure out why that's the case. But let's, so my intention over here is to kind of figure out, showcase to you guys how the get header looks like. So what we do is that once we have searched for HTTP, what we do is that we go over here, follow, and in that follow, we just click on HTTP stream. Okay. And once we do that, what will happen is that we'll get a pop-up saying like this. Okay. And over here, what we see is that this is how the header actually went to the server. So this is the header that the server, the red ones is the one that the server received, where it is telling that the request is a GET request. Okay, this is the URL that is kind of being requested by, and here maybe if we were passing any parameter, those parameter will also come up over here. So let's say it will be something like abc.py, person name and age. Okay, the version of the HTTP, the host, the base URL, the user agent of the system, and then few other details like whatever the server was trying to request, or like whatever. So what we are trying to do is that we are also so I will be kind of going through what this parameter means, but basically the objective over here is that this is how the GET request normally look like. Whenever we do, so there are 3 to 4 ways to kind of figure out if the request that is going to serve as a GET request. The first way is to look at the log file and figure out that okay, it's a GET, and this is how we figure out okay, the GET request that went by. The other way is to kind of look at the URL itself, and we see that the parameter that we are passing is going via the URL itself, And that's where we know that okay, it's a get request going in, because in the get request, always the variable will go appended with the URL. Okay. And the other way is to kind of look at the Wireshark model over here, where we see that how the headers look like, the one that is received by the web server. And this is what the web server responded to, saying that okay, what the server can. So even like if you see over here, there's a field for a server. By from here we can kind of know that okay, what kind of server is running on the web server. This is Apache web server, and what's the version of that. So if suppose that this version was vulnerable, attacker can kind of use that to kind of get hold of the web server and to get the remote control of that server. Okay. So this is how the get. So there are three ways to kind of know how the get headers are mostly looking like. Okay. And now let's say, so one of the benefit that I have seen personally of the whenever like let's say I want to automate certain thing for a certain website, and let's say the request is going by the get header, what we can do is that in the URL itself, what we can do is that we can change the content. So let's say this is one of the file over here. What we do is that we copy, let's say we copy this one. Okay, we copy this one. And what we do is like, let's say we go over here, we close, we go over here, we do dot, we do ls, we do clear, we do ls, and do dot, we do ls. And let's say one of the thing is what this is check internet. So nano check internet .py. This is our code that we earlier had used. And what we do is that in the URL itself, we gave the new URL, which is our own code, okay, like HTTP. And what we do is that abc.py, and then we do something like, let's say, let's suppose that we want to automate certain thing. So what we do is that, let's say we create a list of names. For example, names like ABC, ERT, YU, something like this. And let's say we create another list of age, for example, 23, 45, and 67. Okay, 67. We do that. And then what we can do is that, let's say we want to automate certain thing. We want to, let's say we have a scenario where we want to see that, okay, let's suppose we want to see like if we have email ID and are those email IDs has a valid user in the website. Okay. So what we can do is that we can utilize a similar manner. So let's suppose the email ID goes via this get parameter. So what we can do is that in the get parameter itself, we can do some kind of a coding where this parameter's value will keep on changing. And what will happen is that we can kind of quickly know that, okay, for that scenario, if those email IDs are valid or not. So I'm just showing you a basic script by which you can kind of know how get parameter is little bit helpful in doing like a lot of automation. But when I'll be discussing about the post parameter, you'll be seeing that there are a lot of other complexity that comes up in the code on how to handle certain variables over there. Okay. So here, what we can do is that, let's say for I in range 0, 3. Okay. And what we can do is that, so it will run a loop for 0, 1, 2. And what we do is that we create a new URL. And let's say we do something like, let me just do it quickly. Let's not waste much time. Let's say we do something like this. And what we do is we do something like this. URL equal to F. And then over here, what we do is we say name and I. Okay. And then we put extension mask. And over here again, what we do is that we say age, I, and then we do something like that. So what will happen is that this loop will run three times, and what will do it for once it will be name 0. So name 0 is ABC. So it will say name equal to ABC and age equal to age 0. So which will be the first age. Okay, and then it will prepare that URL. And what I will do is that I will just kind of, let's say, print the URL, for an example.